Kind of weird. All right. Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner, classic, less known classics. This is episode number 28. No, excuse me, 2902 and Doubleshot 2796. We got two X-Men related kind of X-Men related miniseries discussed here, though both of them lead to other books. Yes. This first one leads into an Inhumans miniseries. The other leads into another tie-in limited series, which we'll get to that. So first, we're discussing Son of M, written by David Hayne. This is a book about Quicksilver. Yep. This actually is the second book that he's ever had of his own. The last one being his short-lived ongoing series from the 1990s. Book is written by David Haynes. The book starts off with Quicksilver in his crappy apartment, where he's like mopey, and the artwork is so bizarre in this book. It's drawn by Roy M. Martinez, and then for some reason Peter, if you didn't read House of M, you're like, okay, so yeah, Peter sitting at the window, and he goes out, says, "I'm okay." So, yeah, so Peter kind of remembers House of M. Yeah, where he was married to Gwen Stacy and had a son. And Quicksilver basically does not have his powers. He basically puts on his costume again, and he sees sees this guy get beaten up. And I believe this is supposed to be, I think it might be John Sublime, who's here. I think it's John Sublime. No, it's Johnny D. You're thinking, who the heck is Johnny D? Well, he's a minor character. He doesn't really do very much per se. Not really. I mean, this is the book that introduced him. And he appears in the opening issue of this book, and then he appears in the miniseries discussed later in Civil War X-Men, and then he just doesn't do anything until Marauders. Yeah, that's all he does. Appears in like 3 miniseries. He does practically nothing. So then he attacks the person, then Quicksilver just randomly is by. He gets beaten up too. And then Spider-Man shows up here. And he stops the guy with tentacle stuff, and he just... Yeah, Quicksilver just sitting on... He gets up the fire escape, and then Spider-Man webs him, picks him up, and be like, "Come here, I need to talk to you. Last time I saw you, your daddy was crushing you into pulp. I can't say I blame him. Why'd you, Pietro? Why'd you wreck my life? Like, do you think I want this? Look at me. I'm living like a fugitive." Yeah. And he mentions also his son in this conversation. Now, yeah, he has a son in House of M. Yeah, Peter had a kid. And then he just walked away for a bit, and it seems like he's about to throw Pietro off a building. Actually, Pietro was trying to commit suicide. Peter saves him. And then the book ends with Chris showing up with Lockjaw. Oh, and she refers to Pietro as her husband, so I think these two are divorced. And she's the one who cheated on him with an insurance agent in the 90s. Like, either they got remarried. It's bizarre, to say the least. So then he's brought to... Oh, by the way, Spider-Man's out of the book after this issue. Yeah, he does not appear again after this issue. He does not play a role in this book at all. It's kind of weird, because we go straight to, well, Atalan here. And the very next issue, it's like, okay, he misses his powers, so he's basically wakes up, and well, that's what I'm seeing in this issue here, but he doesn't do anything. So he gets shocked by Crystal, takes him away, and that's the last see of him. Now, you might be curious, does he show up in the next issue? Nope, he appears next to Tomorrow Team Up. Oh yeah, there's also a character book named Koya, and this will be her final ever appearance in comics. Yeah, this one book here. Yeah, she last appeared in Humans Volume 2. So, she's a healer, and she heals like Quicksilver. He allows to say, of course, PH reacts with his cute little girl, Luna. Yeah, who's now 6 now, apparently. So basically, interact with each other, talk to various people, and they have public headlines in this book. Well, that's the very books. And then Quicksilver wants to go to Terrigenesis. He's told no because he's a mutant. So he decides, screw it, he goes there anyways. Yeah, he knocks out some guards and goes to a Terrigenesis chamber and goes to Terrigenesis. And he gets his powers back. You're like, what? Yeah, he gets his powers back. And then the book ends with him seeing a future version of himself. He's evil. You're like, what the heck is this? Yeah, it's like, okay. What is up with the evil Quicksilver at the end of this issue? Yeah, it's due to some time travel shenanigans. That's the best way to describe it. So basically, anyway, sorry about that. So, and by the way, this future version of Quicksilver, Quicksilver's wearing a blue costume. This guy's wearing a gray costume. Like, he's a slightly older version of him. It looks like the future, maybe. And then he comes to the ingenious idea to do 2 things. He steals Terrigen crystals, and also he takes his daughter with him. And he takes him to Earth. Takes him to his apartment after having a conversation with his ex-wife. Yes. He takes him to his apartment, and then basically... And then here's the thing. He puts her through Terrigenesis. Yes, his own daughter. Now here's the thing. Her mother isn't human, so she's able to go through this no problem. And the fact that she's also the niece of the ruler of Atlan. Yes. So, she apparently develops this new ability. She can kind of see through people. And you're probably thinking, is this the permanent thing with her? Is this her permanent ability? Yes. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, leaves in his swanky apartment. Of course, Crystal is mad at the fact that, well, her daughter is kind of missing. And she gets her into power, and then she puts on shades like she's a cool little girl. Yep, and she wears shades the whole book, though she does use it to look at people. And then they go to Genosha, where they run into Callisto, who doesn't have her tentacle arms anymore at this point. Nope, they're gone. Yep. So, Quicksilver puts her through... Apparently, she's also been stabbing herself, too. So, Quicksilver puts her through Terrigenesis, too. Magneto's there, watching everything. He doesn't do anything. By the way, Magneto at this point is the power. He does not have his powers at this point. He does not get his powers restored until Uncanny X-Men 500. So, yeah. PH puts Callisto through the whole process. They find the guy who got killed in the previous issue. Gorgon wants to go to Earth and find Pietro. And, oh yeah, and also, Callisto gets basically her powers back. By the way, in case you're curious, here's the thing about this book. You're probably thinking, wait, why is Magneto wearing his costume if he does his powers? Well, because in this book, this is just after his appearance in House of M. In the finale for House of M, that is, yes. Which is kind of interesting. The fact that he's here. Now, the editor's note doesn't say that was his previous appearance, but that technically was. Oh yeah, and also the original cover has a tease for Civil War 1. Yes, Civil War 1. And then we have flashback to House of M, when Magneto was ruling the world. Yep. And then, of course, Quicksilver approaches in the penultimate issue of this book. Get this. So, this issue number 5. So, in this issue, we had the return of Eunice's gang. Yeah, Eunice is back. Now, of course, the character Wicked, Hub, Huck, Purge, Freakshow, and Soiska, who are part of the Genosha Excalibur, they kind of like all get merged into, like, basically the Eunice gang. Yeah, they all return in this book. And get this, they all get their powers back. Yeah, thanks Terrigenesis, they all get the powers back. And then they're confronted by the Inhumans. Yeah. And then, of course, Eunice gets in a fight with Karnak. Karnak hits a particular way. And then Eunice suffocates and dies. You're like, what? One hit causes suffocate? Yeah, the force would kind of rupture or something. It's kind of weird. And here's a weird thing about these two. Same creator created both Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Now, of course, Jack Kirby has been dead at this point in time. Stan Lee, I'm not sure how he felt about this. Either he just didn't care because Eunice is not that big of a character in the comics a lot of the time. Unless you're a hardcore comic fan, you're like, who the heck is Eunice Touchable? I mean, Karnak, yeah, people know who he is. But Eunice Touchable? Nope. No one has any idea who the heck this guy is. I mean, when I think of the Stan Lee Jack Kirby run for X-Men, here's what I think of. The original 5, Cyclops, Marvel Go aka Jean Grey, Iceman, Beast, Angel, Charles Xavier, Magneto, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, I would say Mastermind. I would also have the Blob, the Juggernaut. Eunice has not usually come up there because Eunice has not been featured hardly outside the comics. Yeah, and he gets killed off in issue 6. And the gang disbands with his death. Oh yeah. They all disband. And here's the weird thing related to the group. Let's first start with Wicked. After this book comes out, does she return in comics? She does. Her next appearance is in Merry X-Men Holiday Special number 1, which was released in 2018, 12 years after this book. And then she returns in the final 2 issues of Marauders, Volume 2, which came out 5 years later, and then before the Fall of Mutants First Strike, and then her last known appearance was in Rise of the Powers of X number 5, which was released just this year. So at least she may return. Huck. You are thinking, did Huck appear after this book? Nope. He never did. This book would sadly be his final appearance. Yeah. And also, okay, so, and then during the course of the battle, the Office of National Emergency shows up and takes the Terrigen Crystals. And the humans want him back. General Lazar is like, no, this is why the U.S. government, we're taking it with me. And this action is set up for the Silent War miniseries. No joke. That seriously is. And General Lazar, oh my gosh, he is a dick. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And as for Quicksilver himself, like, does he get involved with the Silent War? He does. Yeah. Yeah. The thing with Quicksilver is, unlike other characters in this book, he was still very much utilized after this book wrapped up. Oh, yes, he was. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're very much an active character this very day. Yeah. You've had their miniseries released. Mm-hmm. You definitely. Okay, so after this miniseries wrapped up, then he became a recurring character in X Factor while appearing in Silent War. Yes, for some reason that Pierre became a recurring character. He also appeared in First Class, various books, and then he became part of the Mighty Avengers, which this book also took place during Realm of Kings and Humans, where he tried to apologize for stealing and also claiming that it was a scroll posed as him to steal the Heritage Crystals. Medusa believed him because Black Bolt was gone at this period of time, and then he admitted to the public in all the next fact that he lied to the humans because his daughter was hating him. But yeah, he still regularly appears. He appears part of the Adventures Academy stuff, some sort of Wolverine the X-Men. But I'd be curious, like, what was his most recent appearance to date? Well, he did appear in a mini-series with his sister. Yeah, as a matter of fact, he also has been appearing as a supporting character in the most recent volume of Scarlet Witch. Yep, that's pretty much basically what he does. Magneto himself, I don't think he does very much after this book wraps up. Like, his next appearance, I think it was probably Kinnixon 500. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, I think he next appeared in New Avengers after this. So, after the Son of M ended, he appeared in New Avengers, and then he finally returned in Kenny X-Men, where 500 gets repowered. And still part of the X-Books this very day. Now, as for Eunice, he would come back, despite dying in this issue. Yes, he came back. First in the Rosha, and then he came back to life in Spider-Man and the X-Men. How the heck he returned? Never revealed. And he's still around. Yeah. Though here's the thing, after you return, like after surviving the X-Men, next appeared in X-Men Volume 5, number 12. His last known appearance was in Rise of Powers of X, number 5. Callisto. Well, what did she do after being, having her powers restored? So, actually, she had powers, but then she joined X-Cell for a period of time. She basically was still active even afterwards. Not as much like Magneto Quicksilver per se, but still very active. Yes. Like, after Son of M wrapped up, then she popped up in X Factor. Appeared in the Storm ongoing series by Greg Pak, which is really good. Appeared in Connection by Colin Bunn. A little bit by Matthew Rosenberg. And then, not much. At one point, she joined Marauders, which I would think she would not like that very much due to the fact that the team, this organization who's named after another group of people who murdered her people. Yeah, it seems hypocritical for her to do that, but Yeah, then after the book wrapped up, then she appeared in our X-Men, and, like other people, last appeared in Rise of Powers X number 5. Yep. But, oh yeah, we still have more stuff afterwards. So next up we have is Generation M. Which, this book in particular, well, the best way to describe it, it's basically a book about one journalist. Now, despite being an X-Men related book, it does not feature an X-Men. It does feature the debut of a character named Sally Floyd. Yes. So, by the way, Paul Jenkins for this book. Yes. And she was first working for a newspaper known as The Alternative. Yes. That's what she was working for. And then she became... And then she became part of the front line. Now she's part of Daily Bugle. Now, she is a bit of a controversial character in comics, Sally Floyd, where the whole thing with Mutant Diaries, and she interacts with... The whole thing with her is that she is basically the public's view of, like, a reporter who interacts with mutants. And at one point, she meets up with Chamber, who's, like, tied to his machine. And this leads into becoming Disable. Something Apocalypse did to him. Yes. We also see the first appearance in this first issue of Nath Crawford, who was her editor at The Alternative, and he never appeared well, he did appear once in this book. In Silver Frontline number 5. But she did. Oh, yeah. Chamber, of course, last appeared in the final issue issue 25 of Weapon X back in 2004. Roughly a year prior to this book coming out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love the covers feature like Chamber, Jubilee. Oh, also, they have Decimation. Basically, well, this book also had a debut, return of Stacy X to comics. Yes, she was also depowered as well. Yeah, she appeared in issue 2, and then she appeared in New Warriors right after this. So you can kind of say this book laid the groundwork for Silver Frontline and New Warriors, because every character in this book later become part of New Warriors. First is Chamber, then Jubilee. Issue 3 had the frickin' Blob. Yes, the Blob on the cover, but he's not a primary character in the book. Nope. First by a character named Ghoul. Yeah, he's a villain for this book that they just had to create. There's also the character named Ken Floyd. Who's Ken Floyd, you might ask? Ken Floyd is Sally Floyd's ex-husband. Yes, apparently they had a daughter named Madeline who died. Yes, died. Due to age regression. Yes. And yeah, and it's like, okay. And there's also this ghoul creature who turns out he's like, there's also these various minor mutants get killed off here. Like, also Mara appears here too, and Angel, which I think this is probably one of the very few books period. And then the final issue featured Danny Moose on the cover. Yeah. And then, of course, Ghoul dies in the final issue of this book. And then he never appears ever again. Sally herself would next appear in Silver Frontline, while some of the characters appear in that books. It's like dealing with eyes. I thought the book was quite interesting. I think Paul Jenkins did an excellent job with Sally Floyd. And, well, I say she's controversial because of an interview she did with Captain America in Silver Frontline, where he thinks he's not in modern day because he's not into NASCAR and doesn't have MySpace. Yes, she said this. And because of this, Cap hates her for it. At one point, she gets imprisoned for daring to bring up what happened in the miniseries Secret Empire, Las Vegas, where she was imprisoned. Yeah. And here's something really, really weird about basically her last appearance. Like, after that appearance, she never appeared in physical comic ever again. So, Marvel decided to put her in the digital stuff. For reasons? I don't know why. And also for some strange reason, like, after, like, this book, Civil Frontline, or Hulk Frontline, basically, with Frontline stuff, she became a supporting character in Amazing Spider-Man for a very short period of time. And I mean, very short. I mean, she appeared in New Ways to Die storyline. Yes. And then her last physical appearance in a comic book, in a physical comic book, was back in 2017. Yes. That was the last time we ever saw her. And then she shows up from the ashes where somehow she's out of being in prison. Where she appears in 3 issues of this book. Where she like investigating what happened with Charles Xavier. And that's been it for her. No, seriously. I do not know why Marvel does not want to feature her in a comic book. I mean, aside from the one brief scene, she hasn't done very much. But not much else to say about this miniseries. I found the miniseries to be quite interesting, to say the least. Yeah, really fun book. Um, Now, of course, yes, this will lead into Civil Front. I'm not going to discuss that next. Now, you might be curious, though. Is there any other miniseries you need to discuss here? Well, the other thing I have discussed for Decimation is just X-Men Volume 2. There's like 2 miniseries left to go, and that's Sentinel 1 and X-Men 198. So, with basically Generation Son of M, I'm going to discuss next Silent War, and then I'm going to do one of the books. But basically, for Generation M, I'm next going to do Sentinel 1. Sentinel Squad 1. That's going to be next. Yep. Yeah, and the whole thing with Decimation, it's basically an aftermath of House of M. And, well, it did lead to the start of 2 new ongoing series. One published for a long period of time, that being X Factor, and the other being New Excalibur. Yes, and by some weird coincidence, when Marvel was releasing this particular event, DC had 1 year later over at them. You're like, really? Yeah, really. It was like 1 year later. X is supposed to affect the X books. You're like, really? Yeah, really. It's kind of weird. But I kind of enjoy it so far. So, that's pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do not dislike button. So, I'll say tomorrow my review for Fairy Tale, and maybe a comic corner too. Okay? Next video tomorrow. Bye.